Hello and welcome to English 2 at Harpeth Hall, Literature of the World. I'm Ms. Croker and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about me, about the course, and about what's coming up next in the first couple of days so that you can understand where we're heading. Let me start with me. You'll see this great picture of Mr. Croker and me at the top. Mr. Croker is also an eminent English teacher and art teacher at Harpeth Hall, and our two daughters, Saffron and Seville, both of whom went to Harpeth Hall and graduated in 2017 and 2020. I was educated back at University of Kansas, which is where I am now, actually dropping off Seville for her freshman year of college, and got my master's degree from Vanderbilt. As you can see, I've been at Harpeth Hall for 22 years. I've been teaching for over 30 years and moved around a little bit as I was growing up, from Chicago to California, Arizona, Kansas. But Nashville's home. We've been there since 1997 and really find it to be a great place to work, to be with our children and have family. So here are a few more pictures of my family and us enjoying the outdoors, our little dog Crumpet, and me biking on the Greenway. Enough about me. I can't wait to get to know about you. One of your first assignments will be to create a self-portrait. And this is kind of a silly image here, but you all will be seeing an assignment on PowerSchool that will tell you how to kind of fill up your Google page of things that are important to you, what you care about, maybe some quotes that are important, or your passions or pursuits, whatever it may be, so that we can get to know each other. And even though we are divided into green and gray cohorts, even though we're separate and hybrid in these first days of school, we are going to be creating full class sections of the Google portraits together so that we can see and start forming a community as one. All right, let me move on now to the content of the course. This class focuses on literature of the world. Last year, as freshmen, you all were focused on the American experience in American literature. This year, we're expanding our community to the whole world. As always in English, we are building on what you already know and what you already can do in terms of your reading, writing, thinking, communicating. All of the skills are really crucial, and we hope to make you more sophisticated users of all of those. In addition, you'll find some connections to our history curriculum and connection, ideally, to your own lives, that even though we'll be reading literature from around the world, you'll also see people who are dealing with themes, issues, problems very similar to your own. You'll also look to see issues that are very different than your own, and hopefully learn to grow in your learning, learn to create some more empathy as you imagine what those worlds are like. I have this quote from Nigerian author Chinua Achebe. He's the Nobel Prize winning literary author, and this is a seminal work, Things Fall Apart. We're not reading this, but he says this, that we lack imagination when we cannot put ourselves in the shoes of others. And you've probably heard this concept before. I have a similar quote at the top of my syllabus and course description from Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird about the importance of being able to walk around in the shoes of others to really understand who they are. And that is what our journey will be this year. This year you will also, in addition to becoming more literate in terms of books and traditional academic learning, you'll become more culturally literate. You'll be exposed to a variety of world authors, different novels, short stories, poems, documentaries, nonfiction. You'll learn and understand different great authors who have won Nobel Prizes, which are world renowned, Pulitzer Prize winners, The author that you see below, Nadine Gordimer, is a South African author who wrote 6 Feet of the Country, a short story, and many novels. You'll read a couple of her works this year. Um, we will also balance this work between classic and contemporary. So classic, what could get more classic than Shakespeare? We'll read one of his comedies, Much Ado About Nothing, but also contemporary works so that you can understand what is happening in the world around you in works as recent as the 2000s. Some of the major themes that you'll run across this year, our first one will be moving beyond the single story, looking at migrations and journeys, both physically as well as sort of philosophically. We'll be looking at heroes, the hero's journey, overcoming prejudice and speaking out, and again, with our lovely comedy at the end, the power of love. Love really, hopefully, conquers all. You'll see more of these works that represent these themes on your course description that is on PowerSchool. And hopefully that will give you an even better idea of where we're heading over the course of the year. You'll also see on there that we'll be working with some typical things that English teachers do, like grammar and some research and vocabulary. But our major literary works are really what drive our curriculum. Our first theme, our first unit, is something that you've already really been exposed to through your summer reading. So this notion of going beyond the single story, getting beyond stereotypes is very clear, I think, in the number of choices that we created for you for your summer reading. Hopefully you really enjoyed one of these choices that you see here on the right. But we'll begin to talk about the notion of the lottery of birth, just that fortune or chance that cast us into our lives that we are living now, but how random it is, in fact, that has happened, and how fortune could have cast us in some other place. We'll start with the novel together in the first couple of weeks called Purple Hibiscus by this author that you see pictured in the bottom left, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, another Nigerian author. And she has this famous TED Talk that you may be hearing about a lot this year called The Danger of the Single Story. So we're moving beyond that in all of our works. In the first couple of classes, you'll be able to talk about some of these summer reading works and hopefully not only showcase what you've learned from them, but also find some points of commonality between them. So our essential sort of issues or questions of the year have to do with how the personal reflects the universal, and really vice versa. That some of the things that we are dealing with sort of one-on-one as individuals are things that people are dealing with all over the world. And they have a lot to do with some of these questions that I have in bullet points. How can you live with moral courage? When somebody tells you to do something that you know at your heart is the wrong thing to do, and yet it seems as if everybody's doing it and it's the right thing to do, what do you do? Do you follow your conscience? Do you follow your heart? Do you follow the law? How can we change things that are unjust? How can we follow heroes in our lives, and how can we become our own heroes in our lives? And so you see this happening in some of these works that we'll see in the second semester. Night by Elie Wiesel, Invictus, a great film about South African apartheid, and a short play called Master Harold and the Boys, another play set in South Africa during the apartheid era. So what is our English class going to look like? In the past, pre-COVID, it would look something like this, that we would start with some kind of bell ringer or mini lesson. We would have a little activity at the beginning, maybe a little grammar, talk about current events, do some journal writing, and then we would fold that into our discussion of the reading that we're doing, ideally kind of Harkness style or some other kind of active way of learning through paired work or group work. And then by the end, we'd pull it together and maybe possibly give you some time to start some homework. Wow, that looks really fun and comforting. We are not in that typical day of learning, and everybody, I'm sure, is feeling a little bit of unease as we're moving into our hybrid world. But we will take it in stride. If you take a look at this this image right here, on the right, just be sure to ideally read the full assignment. What I've tried to do is number the assignments that go with each unit. So we're in Unit 1, and our first assignment is to read that welcome page. Our second assignment will be to watch and respond to some videos that you're going to see later today in this very class. And then the third assignment, 1.3, will be to do that self-portrait that I mentioned at the beginning. So hopefully this will begin to make sense over time. You'll also see on the assignments on PowerSchool that our sections are delineated. I teach a D block and an F block, but at first glance, you won't see the green and the gray cohorts delineated. I'm putting the very first due date of gray on first, but do not worry. If you take a look and you open that assignment, you'll notice at the bottom that I have delineated the due date. So the D block gray, the D block green, the F block gray, the F block green. It's all there if you take a breath and take a look. And even though I'm not there now, I will be there to answer these questions. And you can ask questions of each other and email, all kinds of things to find out what's really happening. So it seems overwhelming now. It won't be over time. The big thing to remember is that even though our day may look different, it's really all about our togetherness, that we're still going to keep at the heart of our class, our communication, our critical thinking, and our connection to each other and our connection to the world of ideas that are out there. And if we can keep that at the heart of our class, I think it will be a win. So here's what's coming next for today in class and the next couple of days. You're going to, once you go home, read through the full page on PowerSchool, the full home page more carefully. Actually open up the course description / syllabus and read through that. That's that document that tells you all about kind of course expectations, what to bring to class, materials you'll need. It gives you a sense of where we're heading quarter by quarter in terms of our theme and books. What you'll be doing next in a moment in this very class is to do an activity where you're analyzing some music videos. I hope that'll be a fun way to start the class for you, but also get you to practice a little bit of your analysis together in a supportive environment. And then for homework, you'll be doing that self-portrait assignment that you can see on one of the subpages on PowerSchool. Those of you who've been worrying about when is our summer book report due on our summer read, it will not be due until our third time that we meet in class. So somewhere in that span of August 28th to September 2nd. And that first time will just be a completion check. So if you finish it to the best of your ability and you bring in a copy and upload a copy also on PowerSchool, you will get a completion grade of 10 points. In class that day, you'll have a chance to get some peer editing and response so that you can craft an even better version of that for our next class. So it's really the fourth class that you'll turn in the final draft that will be your first major grade for this course. All right, so as I said, feel free to ask questions anytime. I have created an any questions discussion board for you on PowerSchool. So if you have something that's in your mind that you suspect not only you but others are wondering about, post it to the discussion board. I'll answer, maybe your peers can answer if you want to get some of their feedback. You can always email me as well. And since I'm not at school this week, you can, if you really want to see somebody in person, ask Ms. Sanderson. She is teaching the same class and she'll be able to help you out with anything you're concerned about. All right, so my message to you is new year, new you. We've got this. We've got each other. As long as we can support each other, it's going to be a great time together. I really look forward to meeting you and to being on this journey with you. Thanks so much and have a great class.